want us to engage with this in that context. That's why we're doing this. We are pulling the levers that can grow tourism. So, I mean, where this comes from, I think is important to just briefly touch on. So a few months after coming into office, I had some engagements with Minister de Lille, with the tourism sector. The CEO is here as well. We all quickly got together to understand what are the obstacles, because we do understand the scale of the opportunity. And when Aldrin speaks about 12 tourists creating one job, it's actually about numbers. It's a numbers game. And a country like China has no shortage of numbers. Neither does India. And yet we were receiving, I think it was 39,000 Chinese tourists in 2023. It had gone up a little bit last year, but really underperforming massively in a country with 1.4 billion people. And then the same in the case of India. So the question was what to do about it. It's not good enough to lament the problem. We quickly looked at the evidence that showed visa inefficiencies at Home Affairs is one of the critical, if not the most critical, obstacle to growing tourism from those markets, but in general. And so, it's an elephant, and you have to eat the elephant one bite at a time. And I think TTOS and getting here today is one of those big bites we've taken. We decided to focus because Home Affairs also has our own resource challenges, and we certainly have numerous priorities. We also want to improve our services in South Africa, of course. So we said, okay, let's target the lowest hanging fruit. And we heard from the tourism sector that the lowest hanging fruit, without a doubt, is China and India, because they are not visa exempt. They need visas, but it is a struggle. And more specifically even than that, we went deeper and we said it's tour groups actually where we're missing out on, because it's group applications that were getting stuck at the missions and that we actually couldn't even process in some cases due to language barriers, red tape, all of these concerns. By digitalizing this process, I can share with you, we're now sitting with hundreds of applications that have come through since the first group that's come in, and these outcomes are being issued within a matter of hours. And I do want to recognize our team here today as well, including, you'll be shocked to hear this, Home Affairs has got 4 developers in the entire department. And I see 2 of them here today as well as Mr. Mbele. But look at what we can do. We can build a system like this with 4 people. Imagine what we can do if we really embrace the power of digital transformation. So my opening comment to you is, this is just the beginning. We want to do so much more, and at the same time we want to do this right. Because TTOS is about more than just this program. It is about showcasing our intent, our commitment to being that economic enabler for the tourism sector, and actually for the whole economy, if you think about skills and investment that Home Affairs also needs to attract. But we are saying we can do it because we've now done it in this particular focused way, and that there is much, much more to come, which I think we can chat about a bit as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Minister Schreiber there, Minister of Home Affairs. So, Minister, it is TTOS. Is that how we pronounce it? I think we need to come out like with one way of pronouncing it. I don't know. What, Mr. Mbele, what are we going with? TTOS. Okay. There's been consensus in this room. And I hope that once the President speaks about TTOS, he will refer to it as TTOS, because there's been consensus amongst this cabinet that is sitting here in front of you. So I am now going to call on the Minister of Tourism to come and give us her opening remarks. And I have to say, Minister, it's quite incredible that with this particular system, you're able to apply for a visa, and then within 3 days, you have an outcome.
Thank you, Aldrin. And good afternoon to everyone. I must start with the thank yous, because we are here today not just because of the Department of Tourism. Yes, I have been struggling for 2 years with a simple explanation to say that, we've got the BRICS countries. And my question for 2 years was, but Brazil and Russia has got a different visa regime. Why not India and China? And it finally got us here. So let me first of all say thank you to Minister Schreiber. Minister Schreiber, I told him that he's the first minister that really understands the value of tourism and the work that he's put in. So, not my mandate. After our first cabinet meeting of the GNU, I looked at the minutes of the previous cabinet, and the president put 3 ministers together to deal with the visa: Home Affairs, State Security, and Tourism. And I thought, who's going to convene now? So I was voorbarig. I called Minister Schreiber and Minister Chaveni, and we then looked at, we also need some help and partners from the private sector. So Tourism Business Council here, the CEO, we went to them for ask for money. We said we need outside help that can come into the system and look at it objectively and bring us solutions. And then Tourism Business Council made the money available, and we were able to, Vulindlela in the presidency, we were able to bring an outside agency on board. So lots of work has gone into it. So Chief, thank you for your contribution from the private sector. So where are we today? Yes, it's a breakthrough. We are all happy because we can now grow the numbers. But you know, I always like to push the line a bit further. And we've got 65 tour operators now, servicing China and India and also from South Africa. But I think we can do better. And I told the minister, with phase 2, we need to go out and we need to recruit more tour operators. And we need to do it now. You know, there's a great positive sentiment towards our country. You know, and that the positive sentiment leads to investor confidence. And it's an opportunity that we must utilize as South Africa. And so we will be planning a strategy. Mr. Mbele is the account manager for India and China. We have got a dedicated portal that just deals with the 2 countries. And he, Mr. Mbele, is available 24 hours. So that is our... I've just added on a few hours, Minister. I've just added on a few hours. And then we also have Mr. Yusuf Simons. Is he here today? He's not available. And really the team, Minister Schreiber, they have, I can assure you, they represented you so well. We went to India together in December. And I was not going to speak on behalf of Home Affairs, so I pushed them to speak and answer all the questions about Home Affairs. So now we have got the relaxed visa regime for India and China. And now again we need that partnership with the private sector. And the private sector, in the tourism sector, you've got no more complaints left now. You can't complain about visas anymore. Minister Schreiber has solved that for you. So you now need to grow the numbers. You need to grow the numbers. The second part of tourism that's important is the air access. We need to get more flights to fly to our country. Many travelers would like to fly directly to their destination. And therefore, last year, while we were busy with the visas, we also came up with a strategy to do more route development, to bring more airlines to fly to our country. And on the 4th of December 2024, Cabinet approved our strategy. And tomorrow I'm meeting all the airlines that are here, that's part of our pavilion, to share with them, but also to learn from the airlines what more can we do as South Africans, as South African companies, as government, to grow and to get more flights to come here. They are not going to put on more flights just because of tourism. We also need to, at the same time, sell our country as an investment destination. Because airlines make their money out of business class seats. So again, we have to work together within government to make that strategy work. So I'm very happy with where we are now. I'm already speaking to the minister about another few countries that we need to look at. But we've seen the impact of visas. When we relaxed the visas to Kenya, Kenya became our fastest growing market in 2023. When we sort out the Ghana problem, Ghana last year was leading. So it shows you the impact of visas, that it got on not only the tourism sector, but also the business event sector that we are here now. So Minister Schreiber, thank you once again to you and your team, and I look forward to working with you and solving more of our problems. There are some things in the GNU that we agree on sometimes, but let me tell you, there are more things that we agree on than what we disagree. So when we have this one disagreement, then the media goes, Eldrin then goes, oh, the GNU is falling apart. There's some cracks in the GNU. We are really trying to work together for the sake of our beautiful country and for the sake of our people. Thank you very much for your attention, and God bless.
Thank you so much, Minister. It's all about the people at the end of the day. And sometimes when we speak about the private sector, we speak about the corporate citizen. And what does the corporate citizen see valuable in this country? Where are the investment opportunities? But also, what are some of the low-hanging fruits that we can plug from and ensure that more people, because for me at the end of the day, it's also the inclusivity one, but also how do you create more jobs? Because it also has to be about jobs, jobs, jobs. If you listen to the President's State of the Nation address, the emphasis was around creating jobs. So how do you do that? But how do you assist the citizen, the corporate citizen, to get to that point where they are actually able to create jobs? With that said, I'm going to ask the CEO of the Tourism Business Council of South Africa, Tshifhiwa Tshivhengwa, to come and join us on stage. And this is no grilling that will be happening today, Tshifhiwa.
Well, good afternoon. Okay, this is too tough for me. I'm not a politician. I'm not a minister. I'm just a helping hand at the Tourism Business Council of South Africa. But what I think is significant is the moment that we're in. For far too long, we have been talking about tourism growth strategy. I remember in 2018, when we came up with the arrival numbers of 21 million that we since revised after COVID. We said that these numbers can only be achieved if we focus on China and India. This doesn't mean that we neglect other markets. It means that we defend and grow the other markets that are traditional, and we focus on these emerging markets where the middle class is growing and a lot more people are traveling. And when we look at the numbers then, we saw that there's a great deal of Chinese travelers that were going to places like Australia. They were getting almost 1 million tourists. And we thought, why can't we get even half of that? What is the barrier? And today marks the day where we say we are dealing with the barriers. the introduction of the trusted tour operator scheme gives us, as the travel trade, a tool to be able to bring as many tourists as possible. And we no longer have to say it's difficult to get visa to go to South Africa. So this is significant. And if we are to deal with issues of growth from the economic side of things, if we are to deal with issues of unemployment, we believe that tourism is the answer, and tourism is the low-hanging fruit and is the new gold for South Africa. And therefore, in whatever we do, we need to be removing any barrier that is there that prevents as many people from coming to South Africa. And we are happy that through the interventions that we've put in place, through the ministers and the work that the ministers have done, we are where we are today. In strategy, we always say complaining is not a strategic intervention. Doing something is an intervention that brings the results that we see today. The fact that we have a group that has arrived is a testament to the fact that we can do more in those particular markets. And again, we need to, as the Minister of Tourism have said, we need to look for more tour operators to join, especially those tour operators that sell long-haul destinations. They may not be selling South Africa, they may be selling USA in China, they may be selling Australia, they may be selling South America. But the fact that they sell long-haul, they can now add South Africa into their itinerary, and they can market to their retail travel agents and also to the consumers. So it's very important that we are focused, we are targeted, and we show that tourism really matters when it comes to dealing with the economic growth and dealing with unemployment. So, very significant for us. Thank you, ministers, for making this happen. As I said, we can talk, we can shout, we can say whatever we need to say, but it's the work that goes in it to make sure that we are where we are today. So there's been a team of Home Affairs. I've worked with Home Affairs for years and years and years. Sometimes we couldn't find each other for years. There's history to this, and some of the people that are here know the history of many things that we've gone through. But the fact that we are where we are today, I think there's a significant improvement. I think there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and we are excited because the more tourists we bring into South Africa, that 12-to-1 that Minister of Home Affairs spoke to, where 12 tourists create one job, we can then get into, with more numbers, into a space where we can say 8-to-1 because we're having a lot more turnaround. And we're getting more airlines coming into South Africa, as the Minister of Tourism have said. We're improving connectivity across the country and, of course, improving our service offering as a country. We're going to see more cranes, more hotels being built, and many other tourism destinations coming into play. So it's very important that we do not break the trust in the TTOS. Because if we break the trust, we will be going backwards. This whole arrangement is based on trust. That we, as a travel trade, are trustworthy to be able to bring tourists into the country and take them back. If we are not trustworthy, there will be a review of this, because the security class is not going to look at this, the way we look at it. We cannot break the trust collectively. So that's all I'm going to say. Don't break the trust.
Thank you so much, Tshifhiwa. And excuse me. And the T in TTOS stands for trust. Trusted Tour Operator Scheme. So he wasn't making that up. He wasn't making that up. The T stands for trust. And the minister, there's a target of how many? 15 million tourists by 2030. Last year in 2024, we reached 9 million. A 5.1% increase from 2023. So how do we use this new visa schemes to make sure that we are able to get to that 15 million by 2030, up from the close to 9 million from 2024. Minister, I'm going to toss the mic your side, but then I'm also going to open up to the floor members of the media, I'm going to start off with the members of the media. Any questions that you have for the ministers as well as Tshifhiwa? We have Tandiwe over here. Just put up your hand and she will come over to you and she'll give you the mic and then you can ask your question. But in the meantime, Minister, let's answer that question. How do we get to that 15 million by 2030?
That's it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. But I like to stand. Okay. I must still grow. I do agree, because sometimes we analyze and we make plans, but the big question that we have to ask is how. We know where we are now. We know where we want to go to that 15 million. And then the question that we must all answer in the sector, both government and the private sector, is how do we get there? Because we always skirt around the how part. And that is where we are going to have to work together. So I like to work from the back to the front. We have to say to ourselves as the sector, we want 15 million by 2030. We are now at 9 million. So we have to midterm 2027 and then 2029. So you work out your sums first. And that will tell you how many tourists you have to bring in every year to reach that 15 million by 2029. Now, where are the people with the cigarette box figures? So you will need at least 1.5 million minimum every single year. And then if you say, I need 1.5 million every single year, you then ask, who are we turning to bring that numbers together? And every one of you must ask yourself, what am I going to contribute to that 1.5 million a year, every tour operator? Because I worked it out that if we can recruit more tour operators, and I said to the ministry, we are now at 65. I would like to see by December we at least have got 150 tour operators or 200. And then you work it backwards. If each one of the 150 tour operators bring just 30 every month for a year, you've got your calculator, Mbella. I'm not good with figures. We can make it. We can actually go past the 1.5 million. And that is what I want us, all of us as a collective, to strategize and work that plan out. And then everyone take responsibility to bring those numbers. Like the tour operator that brought the first 30 Chinese tourists on Saturday. I spoke to them. And I said to them, this is now 30, and this is the month of February. How many are you bringing in the month of March, April, May, June? Have you got plans of how you're going to keep up your 30 every month? And that, Eldrin, that is the how part. We all have to go out there together. The world owes us nothing. Because we're very complacent sometimes in South Africa. We bank on this beauty that we have. But the world owes us nothing. We have to go out there and sell ourselves. And the other how part that I always speak to the sector about is that we need to diversify our tourism offering. We're banking too much. South Africa is all about safaris, Table Mountain, the beaches. Yes, those are iconic areas that the visitors want to see and they must see. But we have to spread the benefit of tourism to the whole country. So we need to get into our small dorpies. We need to get into our villages. We need to get into our townships. And we need to begin to showcase all of those hidden gems that are sitting there, but we have not marketed them. Now, I am speaking to the Tourism Business Council and to South African tourism. Part of our problem, DM and Chairperson, is that we've got a fragmentation of marketing our country. Everyone sits and thinks how I should market the country. The private sector do their thing. SAT compete with the private sector because they get their money from my department, 50% of my budget. 50% SA Tourism get from the department's budget. 1.3 billion rand. And I told them, hey, this is the 7th administration. From the 1st of April, and I threatened them, I said, I will take your money. But I must also give solutions. A week ago, I phoned the chairperson of the board of Tourism Business Council, Mr. Jerry Mabena. And I said, Jerry, within this week, you get the marketing committee of Tourism Business Council and South African tourism together. Because before the end of March, I want to see a joint marketing plan by TBCSA and SAT. And not just a joint plan, they're going to say how much is the private sector spending, how much is the tourism sector spending, and put our money together. It will be more impactful. So that is the how part of how we're going to capitalize and use the visa relaxations and that Minister Schreiber is responsible for. Use the visas to see the visa as an enabler to grow tourism. So all of you in the room here, you must grab this visa regime that we have now. See it as an enabler to grow our tourism. But I will speak some other time about other things that the SAT board is here. I've also sent a message to the SAT board. Yes, the chairperson of the board. And I said to them, I need your help. Chairperson, you know when we come before the portfolio committee, the DM and myself must answer. Yes? I'm bringing all of them into it. Yes, we are. Thank you.
So the committee is about to be busy with more tourists. Okay, I am going to now open up the floor. Questions. We're going to ask, if you have any questions, please put up your hand. Tandiwe will then come to you. With the mic, we're going to take a cluster of 3 questions. Please be as brief and as concise as possible, and just direct who you're asking the question to and introduce yourself as well. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. Name is Malungile Mkize from Maritzburg Power Podcast. Congratulations again for innovative project that you are handling. But accountability is very important. That's what we fail as government. Who is ensuring that everyone is accountable for their stake into this project? As well as in terms of development, skills development, have you looked at that? How you're going to develop the younger generation into this program? Is there a skills trade for this project, even within the African context? Yeah, I'll stop there for now.
Okay, thank you so much. Another hand, please put up your hand. Anyone at the back? Okay, there are 2 hands in the front. Okay, there's a hand over there, and then we're going to come to the front. Please introduce yourself, yeah?
Hello, I'm Christian Schulz from Tourism Update. I would just like to know, obviously we received the first batch of tourists yesterday. How will the TTOS aim to improve business travel specifically?
Okay, business travel. Another question. We're going to take the gentleman over here.
Congratulations. My name is Joshua Awesome. I write for Business AM. My question really is to find out when the next phase will be, particularly that touches other parts of the continent. You know, they say charity begins at home. While we're talking China and India, well, we're happy. But Africans, when? Thank you.
Okay, Minister Schreiber, I'm going to start off with you.
Thank you so much. Let me just start on the accountability question. Excuse me. So I think what the CEO said about trust is a fundamentally important point. This model we are also using for the Trusted Employer Scheme, which has made a big difference on, actually linked to the second question, business, the visa processing for work visas, critical skills visas, etc. So we know this model works, and we are now moving with the same approach into the tourism space. So when it comes to accountability, first of all, that's why the involvement of Minister Ntshavheni was important, to make sure we do proper vetting of operators that are signed up into this program. And as part of this, they also sign a contract, essentially, with Home Affairs, that should we find anything that transgresses the rules of TTOS, the operator is held accountable. So we are very clear up front about this, that if there's misbehavior from a group that you brought in, it's not that individual alone who's held accountable, it's the operator. And so that is the incentive, both sides of the coin, to make sure that we don't have any conduct that goes contrary to what we're trying to achieve. So we will enforce that, and again, that's similar to how we do it with the Trusted Employer Scheme. Look, I mean, you asked about young people, and what I want to say to you is I want to hire every young coder in South Africa to come and fix Home Affairs. That's actually what I want to say. But obviously, this is an early part of this journey that we're on. It's, as I said, it's a marker that of our commitment that what we say we will do, we actually do. I mean, we built this in 5 months. From coming up with a concept to executing took us 5 months. And that is a sign of where we want to go, but we still have a long way to go. So there's going to be many more opportunities, I believe, for growth in this space, for all stakeholders. And that actually links with actually both of the other questions that I do just want to use the opportunity with the people in this room to talk about briefly. This, as I say, is one component. In many ways, the beginning of the reforms on the tourism side. Everything we do, we are doing because we regard ourselves as an economic enabler. But this is not the end by any means. You would have heard the President's announcement that we want to create an electronic travel authorization. He made that announcement in SONA, and that is really going to be the next stage that will be much bigger and much broader than this. In many ways, we're proving the concept here of digitalizing visas. But we want to go way beyond that. Now, what that means is, in the simplest terms, we cannot go forward with a country that has paper-based visas. We cannot go forward as a country, for security reasons, with visas that are handwritten, that are shipped in boxes and people try to steal them. We cannot continue like that. So we have to automate the visa process in general. We have now started with the lowest hanging fruit that will yield, I believe, CEO, the biggest immediate impact. But this is not where we're stopping. This is only encouraging us to go further. And going further means delivering on what the President had announced around the ETA. Now, what the ETA means is that you remove all of your paper processes. No one fills in a form. No one gets a paper document. You also remove all your discretion and interaction with individuals. And I use this line constantly. You cannot bribe a computer. And it's really that fundamental. So now you can see why I'm saying I want to hire every coder that's available in South Africa if I could. Because we actually have to shift Home Affairs from a manual paper-based department to an IT automated modern machine. That's what we need to do. So the ETA is going to be an essential part of that because it's going to automate the visa process beyond TTOS. I think it's really important to leave that message here today. No one's going to ultimately lose out here because we want to automate it for every visa category, for every country, including on the final question then. Essentially, we want every prospective tourist who wants to visit South Africa to be able to sit at home and apply online. And we know this can work because other countries are doing it. Kenya is doing it. Seychelles is doing it here in Africa. And then around the world, Singapore, these countries are massively advanced. We want you to be able to open your device at home, scan your passport, take a photo of your face, selfie, give us your travel information, and then we want to use AI and machine learning to check every Interpol database, to check the V-list, to check that your selfie matches your passport. We will be able to make a far better adjudication decision on a visa than any human ever could, because we're going to use technology to do that. And the trick there is then volume doesn't matter. We can do 10 million applications then, because we're not constrained by the fact that we only have 40% of the staff that we currently need. So it's a key enabler for our own staff to actually get on top of their own workload as well. But in principle, Minister De Lille, we will then be able to issue to you the same service we're issuing under TTOS right now, but across the board for tourism visas, regardless of where you come from, regardless of how many applications there are. That really is the holy grail that we're working towards through the ETA. And I believe we can deliver that more quickly than people think, because we're actually in the game of delivery. We're not in the game of talking, exactly as the Minister and the CEO have said. So if you look at the medium-term development plan, for example, to give you some comfort that this really is embedded, we have put explicitly a midterm target of having the ETA automating visa applications and outcomes for all tourist and short-stay visas by midterm. That's our commitment, and I suspect we might even beat it, but we are absolutely committed to doing that. So that answers the question eventually also finally, it answers your question because then it's from everywhere, but it also answers the question about business travel. Because once you've automated your short stay visas, all that remains is long stay visas. That's your critical skills, your corporate, your general work, etc. Now just to understand, those are more complex because they require more documentation. Your tourist visa or your remote work visitor's visa, they require relatively few documents, which a computer and AI and machine learning can analyze far. I mean, they can spot a fake passport better than any of us ever can, no matter how many years of training we have. So that's relatively doable. The longest stay visas is our end-term target. So we then want to leverage the ETA, TTOS, ETA, and then going into your business visas as well. So that's really the vision in a nutshell. That's what we want to deliver. That is what I mean when I say digital transformation can actually revolutionize the way we interact with government, because you can hear the benefits for your sector from this, but you can also imagine the security benefits of us knowing the face of every person who comes in and out of the country. I mean, there are huge, huge spin-offs. Of course, the benefits for Home Affairs is we'll actually be able to handle the volume, even though we don't have that many people. So that's where we're going on the visa front. I will conclude by saying I think everyone here, or the majority, are also South Africans. We want to apply the same approach to our civic services so that you can actually get your documents digitally as well. If you can get a digital visa, why can't you have a digital ID or digital birth certificates? That's where we're going. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Rima Lapisi. I'm wearing two hats. Number one is a hat of being the Deputy Chairperson of the Gauteng Tourism Board, and also having been a tour operator for the last 20 years by my company, By Design Africa. I just want to focus particularly to the two ministers regarding the Indian market, right? Where is Neliswa? Okay, I'm sure she's somewhere in the room. But we have been traveling, Minister, to this market. Some of my colleagues are here for the last 6 years to really kind of like make sure that from a And I'm talking about not legacy tour operators, but really from exactly the mandate that you always talking about SMMEs in developing this market. I just wanted to, number one, acknowledge the great work that Nelisa has done in terms of opening this particular market to SMMEs. And I think the colleagues that are here will really, really attest to that. Can we just give Nelisa a hand of applause, please? But my particular question is that, is the Minister and two ministers a particular focus as well on ensuring the enablement of SMMEs in this TTOS program, so that we are deliberate about making sure that there's inclusion of SMMEs in this program? If the two ministers can please address that. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you so much. We've come to the end of this part of today's session, but I'm going to call on my panelists to please come and respond to the questions. And as you respond to the questions, Minister as well as Tshifhiwa, please give us your closing remarks as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Let me start with the route development and airlines. We have started the engagement, but we must first get together at home. At home, we have an air access organization in the Western Cape has got one, Gauteng has got one, KZN, Eastern Cape, the Northern Cape is also starting one. So we are very fragmented. And what happened with the various air access initiatives is that every province go and just fight for an airline to fly to that province. So we are dealing with the fragmentation now in that we are going to have one national point where all of them are coming together, and where we are going to go out and look for flights for the country. Yes, the flights can fly to Joburg or to Cape Town, but that coordination is now taking place. From the Department of Tourism, we have now invested 6.5 million rand to put the structure together so that we can, in-house, in the country, we come together and work together on that. Like I was saying, I'm addressing the airlines tomorrow, again to find out from them, what more can we do with South Africa? Your direct question on India. You know the Gupta stole our flight from... the Gupta stole our flight from Mumbai, from Ouattambo to Mumbai. Now, when we were in India now in December, we took SAA with us, and Bella was there. We were all together. Home Affairs, SAA, tourism, we were all there together, the private sector. And when we engaged with Air India said to us, it's not a matter of if they want to, if they want to do it, they are just waiting for aircrafts to be delivered, because apparently there is low supply because of Boeing. Then they're coming. Air Indigo offered SAA to say, already Air Indigo is flying from Mumbai to Mauritius and from Mumbai to Kenya. They will bring the tourists in, and SAA can pick them up from Mauritius and from Kenya. That was Indigo. Then there was another smaller company who said they are prepared to do chartered flights where a company want to bring their workers for a holiday, take them 8 hours to come to Johannesburg. So I have spoken to SAA, and I don't want to speak on their behalf. And yes, the Mumbai flight is on their radar. What remains now is that I have to go back and say, can we do it sooner? But I agree 100% with the opportunity is there. The same with the flights to Beijing.
But then the flights in the continent is another problem. Because to fly around in the continent from one African country to another, sometimes people have to fly out of the continent and fly back into the continent. So what we have to do in the continent, all of us together, there's the Africa Free Trade Agreement. It's not just about moving goods, it's also about moving people. And we need to put pressure on the AU to make sure that they implement all of these 100 resolutions that they have taken. Was there another question for me? I'm talking such a lot. What was the other one? I want to see if Eldon was listening.
No, Lawson, do you want to comment on what Lawson had to say?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then SMMEs, yeah, the SMMEs.
Oh, the SMMEs. Yes. I would just say what we are doing. The Department of Tourism, at this Meetings Africa, we have sponsored 25 SMMEs to give them market access. And they are just there in the Sustainability Village. But we have got altogether 132 SMMEs that are exhibiting here. And when you go there, you will see there's some mentoring, there's some assistance. And so you just have to watch the SMMEs. It's not to be excluding any. We have to follow a process. If there is another World Trade Fair, like we also take lots of SMMEs overseas, then we have to advertise as the Department of Tourism. Like at the IPTM now in Barcelona last year, we also had about 15 or 20. But you have to apply as an SMME to qualify to get that benefit. But the Business Council also sponsor a lot of SMMEs, and I will ask Chief to speak to that. But as a department, we've got a special budget. You know, we take now, next week, we are taking SMMEs to the ITB in Berlin. Last year, we took SMMEs to the WTM in London. We took some of them to Las Vegas, all over. It's a big program that we're running as a Department of Tourism. Chief, if you can add what the private sector is doing with SMMEs.
Thank you, Minister. I think on the issue of SMMEs, on the TTOS, the TTOS is open to everyone. Like I said, the biggest part of the TTOS is the trust. Because the Minister of Home Affairs, if he believes for any reason that he cannot trust us, it's an end of this. It's open to everyone. But what's important is that you need to be, of course, connected to the market. If you are not connected to the India or China market, then there wouldn't be business flowing. So that's a matter of the trade that we need to handle in terms of the market access between the SMMEs in South Africa and the businesses in India that are sending tourists, or a direct connection, you know, that you can have if you go to the market and get someone who can send you tourists. But the fundamental point is the trust part. So everyone, whether you're a big business, you're a small business, it's open to everyone. Whether you are young or, you know, middle-aged like me, it's open. So we all can be able to benefit from this. I think the fundamental question is whether the SMMEs are able to go to India and conduct business. And that's what we need to address, you know, as time goes, in terms of how do we rejig, you know, the way, you know, SMMEs participate in those markets. So it's very important, because for the past 25 years being in the industry, I've seen many SMMEs coming through to the system. It's a lot of traveling that happens and go all over the world. But those that were there 20 years ago, somewhere along the line, they give up and then they don't develop into medium-sized business or large business. And that's something that we need to be able to address. It's okay to offer boutique experiences that you can say, I only deal with 50 people a year, but I offer high-end. It's okay, but we need to make sure that there's access to that. There was also a question about the mice. You know, whether
this focuses on the MICE. It focuses on anyone who's bringing group travel. So as long as you are within the system, you are bringing group travel, whether it's for the conference, whether it's for incentive travel, whether it's an exhibition, you should be able to use the system, provided you are registered and you sign all the necessary paperwork. You should be able to use it if you're bringing the groups into South Africa. So it's open to everyone. So there shouldn't be anyone who feels excluded because we're in one sector or one subsector of the tourism industry. Whether you're in leisure, whether you're in business travel or corporate travel, whether you are in MICE industry, whether you are in gastronomy, you want to bring a group of chefs to come to South Africa, as long as you're bringing people into South Africa, regardless of any subsector, you should be able to use the system provided you're registered and provided you are trustworthy. I'm going to hope on this because it is, we take the little bit of money that we have to get to where we are. We don't want to go backwards. We don't want a situation whereby we're going to be getting a call to say, come to a meeting because someone is misbehaving, or because the number of people that came into the country did not return back to the country. That's going to cause problems. And that's why I'm emphasizing that let's not ruin a good thing. It's good for everyone. It's good for big business, small businesses, medium size, and anyone who wants to play into the space. So let's make sure that we protect this space, we use it properly, and let's make sure that we get as many tourists as possible into the country. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chief. I'm going to ask Minister Schreiber to quickly come on and give us the last sweep.
Thanks very much, Aldrin, and I want to thank the CEO for being very clear about this because it is a trust relationship. And we are going out of our way from Home Affairs to do this. We want to support this. We want it to succeed. And so you have our trust. We believe we've got your trust. And let's actually demonstrate when South Africans work together that we can pull these kind of things off. So I want to thank him for being clear about that. And I think it's something that amongst all of us we need to be clear about. Because if you want to kneecap our ability to help you, it would be to break trust. And that's what we don't want. But on a more exciting note, I suppose, I want to say that what I'm seeing here is really something that can grow, and of course Minister de Lille does tons of this already, but from the Home Affairs side, I'm seeing the opportunity for that kind of public-private partnership that we always talk about, not as a defined project or as a procurement issue, but genuinely a partnership, an actual relationship, and that's where the trust fits in again, because for a relationship to work, you need to have that level of trust. But if we can do that, I think it's very important to say that what we are busy doing is enabling the market, is enabling people in the market to make decisions based on government fulfilling its functions. So I sometimes get the sense that South Africans have internalized the idea that nothing can ever work and nothing can ever get better. I'm telling you now, businesses have a profit motive. And it is businesses who are actually going to see where this is going that will make decisions that will benefit them. So it's up to you, is what I'm saying, to understand what we're doing. Yes, understand that we work within serious constraints in many cases, but what I've outlined with the ETA, what the President has announced, what Minister de Lille is doing, that is the direction of travel. And it is now up to the market to make good business decisions that help market this program, as the Minister has spoken about, that help us market the ETA when that comes, that actually goes and finds new opportunities for other sectors and for growth inside tourism. So I just want to make this point. I think it really is important that this is how public-private relationship, partnership should look. We need trust. Government needs to enable the market, but then you must go and make the best of it. You must go and make business decisions so that we can get those numbers we're looking for, and most critically, that we can create the jobs we're looking for. So for Home Affairs, we can't go and create jobs in tourism. That's your job. But we can enable you to access the markets you need to do that. but we're going to need both, is what I'm saying. If we pull it off, we have really a massive, massive opportunity. And then, Aldrin, I do want to just end by recognizing, and I see we've only got 2 of them here now. Please, if you wouldn't mind, just allowing our developers to stand up and give them a round of applause, because it's a small team, but look what they've done. And as I say, if you know of any good IT people who want to contribute to the country, give them my number or something, because we want to build this team and we want to do a lot more with technology. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much to Minister Leon Schreiber, as well as Minister Patricia de Lille, Tshifhiwa Tshivhengwa, who's the CEO of the Tourism Business Council South Africa. Thank you so much for your time as well. We've come to the end of this editorial session. We're going to take a quick break, but just a quick one to the tour operators that the demo will still be done a bit later on. Please be in contact with Nelly Siwe O'Connor. Okay, please be in contact with Nelly. But thank you so much. You've been an awesome audience. Tot ziens. Don't forget TTOS.